the Bears gotten better this offseason? According to ESPN, they haven't. Sports Talk Chicago. Here for Jon Zaghloul. Appreciate all of you tuning in. Subscribe to the channel for more Bears content, more Chicago sports content. Follow us all over at Sports Talk Chicago and support our sponsor, Amish Country Farms in Orland Park. So ESPN, the hater of the century when it comes to Bears news, has come out and said that the Bears have not quite improved this offseason. Apparently their roster still isn't good enough, or apparently, according to them, it's similar to last year in which they were the worst team in football and got the number one pick. Writer there named Dan Graziano says the Bears have not quite improved their roster, quote, but Chicago's added some pieces that field should have avenues to show the kind of improvement this year that leads to sustainable long-term success. Graziano did say that the Bears made significant moves, but I go back to the first point. The answer to the question of did they improve this offseason is not quite. Not quite. What? Let's see, you bring in DJ Moore, you trade the number one pick and get so many more players, you get an offensive lineman, a Darnell Wright, not to mention all the defensive players the Bears signed, TJ Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds, Andrew Billings, Rasheem Green, DeMarcus Walker. I mean, how could you actually say with a straight face, yeah, this team didn't really improve this offseason? Ryan Poles essentially did nothing. They had the biggest cap in the entire NFL, but they did nothing with it. They were done with their resources. I mean, how do you come out and say that? What basis do you have factually to make a point like that? Bears have not quite improved their roster around Justin Fields. So are we expecting them to go 3-14 again? Is their roster the same as last year's team? Apparently to them it must be. Apparently we should be expecting another 3-14 season. And I might have been wrong about that last year when ESPN said they'd be the worst team in football. Yes, I admit it. But I know for a fact come this year, they're not going to be the worst team in football. No way, no chance. So to make that statement, it's really insulting. And it goes to show that apparently they just don't cover the Bears as much as they'd like to say they do. Because if they actually cared about what the Bears have done, if they've actually followed what they've done since the end of the season, they would know that this team is 10 times better than what they were just a few months ago. Everybody here knows it, and this is not being a homer or being a fanboy, it's just the truth. Objectively speaking, this roster today is way better than last year's roster. Not even close. It's not even a comparison. But ESPN has to continue their hate spree and say that they did not quite improve. I've said this before on this program. I'll say it again. ESPN is in the business of emotion, reaction, and instigation. They're forcing me to make a video about this, and in turn, they're going to get publicity for having it being attributed to an ESPN writer. Yes, I might be falling into the trap, but this time for good reason. I have to defend what the Bears have done, and I have to defend and call out BS when I see it. And this is a load of BS. This one makes no sense. So although ESPN might be basking in the glow of more clicks and more clickbait and more furious people, I have a right to defend this team for what they've done. And you know me, I'm right down the middle. If the Bears make a dumb move, we'll talk about it. But this just has no basis nor any reason to be said other than evoking emotion and hatred. How do you say they haven't quite improved based on the amount of money that's been signed, the moves that Ryan Poles has made, trading the top pick, bringing in the number one wide receiver, bona fide, beefing up your offensive line through the draft, and having Justin Fields be ready and be in a place to succeed in 2023? How do you say after all of that, yeah, I don't think they improved too much? I don't know how well they're going to do, and I don't expect much from them in 2023. Here's this guy's editor. I mean, what the hell kind of a story is this? Do you even follow the Bears? Do you even know their history? I mean, it really makes no sense. I don't understand it. According to this article from NBC Sports Chicago, The Bears roster is already better than last season's, which is correct. Luke Getsy, the Bears offense, finished 23rd in the league last year. The defense finished last in the league. They allowed the most points per contest, 27.2. Do you really think they're going to do that again? Do you really think they're going to struggle to that extent again, giving up 27 points per game and having a 23rd, 22nd ranked offense? Come on. This offense is going to be vastly improved considering the Bears have three good options at wide receiver. Maybe not a bona fide number one like a Justin Jefferson, right? But three good options. Their depth is much larger at that position than it was a year ago. EQ St. Brown is your number 4 now, not your number 1 or number 2. But that's not an improvement. What about on the offensive line? Getting in Darnell Wright. Braxton Jones going to be in his second year. I know the center position isn't really filled out yet, but it's not impossible. It's not over. It just doesn't mean, okay, the offensive line's going to suck again. The run game's going to be solid. Three-headed monster, Roschon Johnson, Khalil Herbert, Deontay Foreman. And the Bears made some big signings defensively. 2 big linebackers in free agency, Edwards and Edmonds. Jack Sanborn's going to be back over there. Defensive line, they do need an edge rusher. Nothing is set in stone yet. I mean, there's still more that could be done in the months to come. And even as of this taping and as of this day here in May, they're better than what they were last year at this time and in general. So how could you say they haven't quite improved yet? They've improved enough to force Justin Fields to be a better player this year. Justin Fields will be better based on just sheerly the weapons around him, let alone him getting better and him improving as a player. The weapons around him will force him to be better. There are going to be more catches made, less drops, less fumbles, less stupidity. Not to mention the fact that Fields will be in his 3rd year in the league and his 2nd year getting some continuity with an offensive coordinator in Luke Getsy and a head coach in Matt Eberflus and a GM for that matter in Ryan Poles. People have to think before they write. You know, you might criticize myself and others on this network for being harsh critics of other teams or even harsh critics of the Bears and Justin Fields at times, but I'll tell you this, I would never be dumb to say something like this, right? I would never say the Bears have not quite improved their roster around Justin Fields. I'm not that stupid. I might have some out there takes at times, and others on this network may. I don't want to speak for everybody, but I would never go this far. Because this is not a coherent thought, a critical thought, you know what, I really took a look at the numbers and decided to come up with this opinion. No, this is, I'm going to really instigate and get people pissed off for no reason. I don't appreciate that attitude, but that's where ESPN's gone, and that's where they continue to go. Which is why they've turned into really a tabloid and not journalistic. Or the journalistic integrity they once had is gone, frankly. I mean, they were doing this last year, going on TV, saying, oh, they're going to be the worst team in football, and whether they were right or wrong doesn't really matter. You don't say that about a team in May when you have no idea what's going to happen. Clearly, it was clickbait, and this is too. Don't believe what every national pundit has to say. Some of them are good. We have them on this show. Others, like this, not so much. I would challenge Dan Graziano to come on this program and really explain why he feels this way. Makes no sense and clearly does not have a grasp of what the Bears have done and what they look to do in 2023. This team is not winning a Super Bowl this year. We can all agree on that. But to say that they haven't quite improved is ludicrous. I mean, they could even win the division title. It's possible. They're within reach to do it based on how much they've improved and how this division is going to be looking. And you're going to tell me they haven't really improved much and who knows what they're going to do? I mean, come on. This is not critical thinking. This is, I'm going to instigate you and get you pissed off. Worked on me, but I'm saving you guys the extra trouble and trying to tell you don't pay any attention to this. It's a joke. So if anybody tells you the Bears have not quite improved and have not gotten better to help out Justin Fields, you could point them to the bevy of signings they've made, the moves they've made on draft night, and the trade they made to get DJ Moore. That trade alone is an improvement That trade alone justifies the Bears improving this offseason. If Brian Poles did nothing, spent no money, still had tons of cap space, and did absolutely nothing this offseason, that trade alone would say, yep, the Bears have gotten better this year. Better team. So the fact that this writer can't see that is a huge problem. Certainly concerning. The Bears are going to be better this year. I'm not going to say they're going to win a Super Bowl. I'm not going to say they're even going to win the division, but 8 or 9 wins is certainly within reach and is my expectation, minimum. That is more than 3, isn't it? 9, 8? Yeah, more than 3. So they're going to be better, and they are improved from what they were last year. If anybody suggests otherwise, then they just don't follow this team, or they don't care enough to make an educated guess or an educated take. This is an uneducated take. This is clickbait take. It's dumb. Don't listen to it. Thanks for watching today's program here on Sports Talk Chicago. Appreciate all of you tuning in. Big thank you to John Meadows directing and producing, our sponsor, Amish Country Farms, and all of you. You can follow us all over at Sports Talk Chicago. Listen to the podcast at Sports Talk Chicago, and also help us out by subscribing to the channel. So long, everyone.